an interesting thought came to me, and that is the fact that there are a lot of shows that enjoy their romantic relationships and pairings of different characters, as well as a good deal of shows that bring the drama, that have plots and situations where the characters' lives can be at risk, and where characters can possibly maybe even die, and maybe even have shown characters that get killed off, as well as shows that have a good deal of action and suspense and adventure and all of the other things that make the shows great and fun to watch. Shows like Gravity Falls, Star Versus, Legend of Korra, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles aren't afraid to pull their punches, and even My Little Pony has a great deal of interesting elements. Although when you look at it, My Little Pony has just a little bit less of it, probably because of the rating and the target audience. For example, the relationships between characters like Tatara and Aang, or Korra and Asami, or April and Donatello are very strong, whereas the My Little Pony has Shining Armor and Cadence and Cranky and Matilda and the Kates, but doesn't really feed a whole lot of major, deeply romantic relationships to the other characters. It does drop some hints here or there at that sort of thing with characters like Lyra and Bon Bon, or Trindlehoof, Rarity and Applejack, or Flash and Twilight, but none of them really go into anything too deep. Yeah, we do get a slight hint of Rainbow Dash and Soren and Fancy Pants and Rarity, but for every one of those there's also ships for Rainbow Dash and Applejack, and Rainbow Dash and Rarity, and Fluttershy and Big Mac, and Pinkie Pie and Big Mac, and Pinkie Pie and Cheese Sandwich, and Pinkie and Party Favor, and tons of other combinations with nothing being confirmed. As if to say that the audience for My Little Pony is too young to take on these romantic, deep plots. But at the same time, My Little Pony certainly doesn't shy away from the action and explosions and the fighting of dangerous creatures. But then when you get onto something like the Disney Marvel reboot, you have characters like Spider-Man and the Avengers and Hulk who have no love interests whatsoever, despite the fact that their previous incarnations have had very clear and very deep love interests. These characters not only don't have love interests, but they don't have any drama. There's nothing at risk when they fight. The characters always win and nobody ever dies. Therefore, no one is at risk of dying and no one is at risk of losing. There's nothing for the characters to gain or lose when they fight. And the main characters, especially Spider-Man, always have to be the ones to save the day, and they always succeed in what they are doing. Very much like how Kung Fu Panda also always has Po be the winner of every situation he gets into. He's always the hero that saves the day. The other characters never have anything to do, and nobody on Kung Fu Panda has any romantic relationships. I wonder, why is this the case? It's not a case of it being Disney and therefore you can't have this stuff, because that sort of content, the romance and the drama and the potential characters being killed off and all of the action, happens quite a lot in both Gravity Falls and the Star Wars Disney buyout. And it's even happened in past Disney shows like Kim Possible and Gargoyles and many other things. And it's not so much a case of the target audience either, because even Teen Titans Go has romantic couplings. Even if their plots don't go anywhere and they don't follow continuity and they don't follow established canon, and they're an insult to the fan base and everything comic book readers enjoy about superheroes, they at least have romantic interests. So I do wonder why the Disney Marvel characters don't have romances and don't have intense drama or situations where you fear that the hero might have a major loss of some kind. Why doesn't Marvel have episodes where the main characters don't get to win occasionally? Why doesn't Marvel have the possibility of characters being killed off? Why doesn't the Disney Marvel characters have all of these situations that would make for excellent writing? Even Phineas and Ferb were allowed to have relationships and just enough drama to keep the show interesting. And like I said, as I was thinking about, Disney's Spider-Man and Disney's Avengers have sort of the same problem as Nickelodeon's Kung Fu Panda. So it's not even a Disney only issue. It seems to be just these particular franchises. Everything else is allowed to be interesting. Even Star versus the Forces of Evil can take chances and do things that you wouldn't normally expect from a cartoon. And from what I hear of it, even Steven Universe can have that sort of content. It makes me wonder why Marvel, and to a lesser extent of lesser wondering, Kung Fu Panda, doesn't do the amazing, fantastic writing stuff, and especially the relationship end of it. If I were to go on with this conversation, I could even state that Ben 10 Ultimate Alien, while having some relationship and some action issues, still suffered from the Ben must always save the day syndrome. But at least it had relationships and action and the possibility of characters being killed off to create the drama and tense situations. And while it did sort of write off Kevin and Gwen for the most part, they were still around on the series. It also makes me wonder a second topic, which I'm going to blend into this one, and that is, will cartoons coming down the line have relationships and drama and things of that nature? In the Alvin and the Chipmunks reboot, we're not getting any of that whatsoever. Alvin and the Chipmunks prefers to keep itself very true to what the series was in the 80s, meaning that nobody gets to be complex, nobody gets a romantic interest, and nobody has any surprise twists. So I don't really blame them for that. But with things like a Powerpuff Girls reboot coming up in the future sometime, I do wonder if when these reboots happen, or when we get a new series of some kind, will we be having intense romantic couples, intense fight sequences, drama, the possibility of characters being killed off, surprise twists, edgy new directions that the cartoons would have never gone in back in the day when they first came out? Or will these new cartoons and Powerpuff Girl reboots and all of that other stuff go the way of Teen Titans Go and be the worst reboot ever and just be a complete insult to the original series. It seems like anything is possible. The Thundercats reboot certainly took Thundercats in a different, unexpected direction and could have potentially continued to pull surprises if had it actually continued. The latest incarnation of Scooby-Doo also took things in revolutionary new directions. Then on the other hand, you have new cartoons like Breadwinners and Dope Pig, whatever other animals, Banana, something, which are completely stupid and ridiculous and annoying, and some of the worst stuff ever put to animation. It seems that cartoons these days can go one of two ways. Hyperactive, annoying, insensitive, dumb as dirt characters who are completely oblivious to their own stupidity and their own insensitiveness and do things completely over the top, or characters that have action and drama and do new edgy things that push boundaries and push envelopes and take cartoons in a direction that cartoons have never gone before. It seems that we're having both an evolution and a de-evolution of animation, and we can go one of two ways with cartoons as we move forward. We can either continue getting better, as is the case with Gravity Falls, or continue to get worse, as is the case with Teen Titans Go. Either seems very much possible right now. It's just a matter of what people want to put out there. And when they're putting cartoons out in the direction that I prefer them to go, they're definitely bringing to the table new subjects that would have never been touched on in previous decades. So, question one of this rambling topic is, why doesn't Marvel do daring, interesting things with their cartoons? Why do they continue to play it safe and do boring, predictable stories that risk nothing and gain nothing, but also lose nothing? And question topic number 2, Finny. Will cartoons of the future continue to move forward in a progressive direction of being new and exciting and trying things that cartoons have never tried? It would be interesting to see how far the envelope can be pushed and where cartoons will be in the next 10, 15, or 20 years. Perhaps maybe even finally getting on even ground with most anime. Anyhow, let me know some of your thoughts on these two uniquely different topics. Thank you for watching, and good night.